Hello, and a very warm welcome to all of you from the English Story Nook. We are so glad you have joined us today. Today, we're diving into an inspiring story about a creative woman with a wonderful dream. Get ready to discover what happens when ambition meets doubt, and how a person can find the courage to follow their own path, even when it is difficult. Before we begin, if you enjoy our stories and want to support what we do, please give this video a like and subscribe to the English Story Nook. If you would like to help us even more, you can consider buying us a coffee. You can find the link in the description below. Every bit of support helps us create more content for wonderful English learners like you. And now to the story. There were no tears, just relief. Ana Yudi Moreno, a graphic designer with a flair for bold, minimalist aesthetics, found her ambition quietly suffocated by the man she loved. Tijman Pastor, her partner of 5 years, was a master of subtle control, his words a constant, gentle erosion of her confidence. He'd wrap his discouragement in the language of practicality, making her dream of opening her own design studio feel like a childish fantasy. "The market is saturated," he'd say, his voice laced with a concern that felt more like a judgment. "It's a huge financial risk." Ana's friend, Mariana Perez, a successful restaurateur who had built her empire from a single food truck, saw through Tijman's charade. "He's just scared," she'd tell Ana over coffee, her voice a welcome antidote to Tijman's poison. "Scared you'll become more successful than him." Secretly, Ana had been squirreling away her best work, crafting a business plan in the stolen hours of the night. But Tijman's voice was a constant echo in her mind, a seed of doubt that had taken root and blossomed into a garden of insecurity. Then, an email landed in her inbox that felt like a lifeline. Swift TARDIS Schwer Scalability, a tech giant known for its innovative and often controversial approach to the market, wanted her to design the user interface for their new app. It was the kind of project that could catapult her career, providing the financial and reputational momentum she needed to finally break free. But the deadline was tight, the demands were high, and she knew, with a sinking feeling, that Tijman would see it not as an opportunity, but as a threat. When she told him, his face arranged itself into a mask of feigned concern. "Are you sure you can handle that, Ana?" he asked, his tone dripping with false sympathy. "That sounds incredibly stressful. I just don't want to see you burn out." He suggested she decline the offer, framing it as an act of self-care, a way to protect her from the pressures of the corporate world. But Ana heard the unspoken words. "Stay small, stay with me." She called Mariana, her voice trembling with a mixture of excitement and fear. "He's trying to talk me out of it," she said, pacing her small apartment. Mariana's response was swift and decisive. "Don't you dare listen to him, Ana. This is your ment." She offered to connect Ana with a mentor, a seasoned designer who had navigated the treacherous waters of a male-dominated industry. The conversation was a shot of adrenaline, a reminder of the fire that Tijman had tried so hard to extinguish. As Ana dove into the project, Tijman's support became a twisted form of sabotage. He'd accidentally spill water on her concept sketches, schedule dinner parties on the nights she had to work late, and make casual remarks about how the tech industry was notoriously saturated with failed startups. Each incident was presented as a harmless mistake, a well-intentioned gesture, making it impossible for Ana to confront him without sounding paranoid. He was a ghost in her machine, a subtle virus corrupting her files. The meeting with the mentor, a woman named Miriam Caicedo Beltran, was a revelation. Miriam, with her sharp wit and no-nonsense demeanor, listened patiently as Anna recounted Tiedeman's behavior. "I had a partner like that once," she said, her eyes filled with a knowing sadness. "He'd forget to pay the internet bill right before a major deadline. He'd accidentally delete my files. It took me years to realize it wasn't clumsiness, it was control." The words hit Anna with the force of a physical blow. She saw her own relationship reflected in Miriam's story, the insidious pattern of manipulation laid bare. "Trust your gut," Miriam advised, "and document everything." One evening, while searching for a misplaced invoice on their shared laptop, Anna stumbled upon a folder she'd never seen before. It was labeled Jote, and inside, she found a series of emails between Tiedemann and his friends. Her heart hammered against her ribs as she read his words, his casual cruelty a stark contrast to the loving persona he presented to the world. He bragged about keeping Anna on a short leash, mocked her ambition, and shared a particularly controversial caricature of her as a struggling artist. The betrayal was absolute, a cold, hard knot in her stomach. He wasn't just holding her back, he was actively working against her. The long hours and stress were starting to take their toll, and she felt herself on the verge of burnout. She confronted him that night, the emails open on the laptop screen, a digital testament to his deceit. He tried to deny it at first, his face a mask of shocked innocence, but the evidence was undeniable. He then shifted tactics, his voice taking on a wheedling tone. "It was just a joke, Anna," he said, attempting to gaslight her. "You're being too sensitive." But his words had lost their power, the spell was broken. "I want you to support me," she said, her voice steady and clear. "All of me. Or I'm leaving." He scoffed, a cruel, dismissive sound. "You're not talented enough to make it on your own," he sneered. "You'll come crawling back." His words, meant to be the final crushing blow, were instead a moment of perfect clarity. She saw him for what he was, a small, insecure man terrified of her light. She packed a bag, her movements calm and deliberate. "It's over, Tiedemann," she said, and walked out the door, not with a bang, but with a quiet click of the lock. Anna moved in with Mariana, the spare room a sanctuary of support and encouragement. She threw herself into the Swift Hardest Schwer scalability project, the work a balm to her wounded spirit. She sent Tiedemann a single, formal email, a clean break, a digital severing of ties. The project was a resounding success. The app launched to critical acclaim, and Anna's design was lauded for its elegance and user-friendliness. The company offered her a long-term contract, a golden ticket to her own studio. The market was still saturated, but she was no longer afraid of the competition. She had a voice, a vision, and the courage to see it through. The fear of burnout was replaced by a surge of creative energy. She was no longer a part of a controversial relationship, but a woman standing on her own 2 feet. Months later, Anna stood in the doorway of her own studio, the words Moreno Design etched on the glass. The space was small, but filled with light, a physical manifestation of her newfound freedom. She thought of Tidjman, not with anger or sadness, but with a distant, detached pity. There were no tears, just a profound sense of relief, a quiet, cleansing wave washing over her. She was finally home. And that's the end of our story for today. It's a powerful reminder about the importance of believing in yourself. Have you ever received advice that truly changed your perspective? We would love to hear about your experiences in the comments. If you enjoyed the story, please show your support with a like. Remember to check the description box for some helpful materials to continue your practice. Thank you for listening and learning with us today. Keep practicing, stay curious, and we look forward to seeing you in our next story here at the English Story Nook. Goodbye for now.